and Egunan from Pamplona, Spain. I'm Marissa, and I will be doing today's ITA takeover. A little bit about me. I'm 25. I'm currently living in Pamplona, Spain, and I teach at a charter school here, as well as online and in-person tutoring. Should be in person soon. It's currently online. But that's where we're at right now. So I will talk more about myself later, and I will drop a box on the next slide in a minute. So I know it's kind of early still. It's 9 a.m. here. So I know back home, I'm from North Carolina. So it's 6 hours behind there. So I know no one's probably awake yet. Okay, so a little more information before I get started on questions too. So I'm actually not really allowed to I can't take any videos or pictures of my kids, unfortunately, which is a shame because they're really adorable and I wish you guys could see them because I absolutely adore my kids. But I teach from ages 4 to 8. My school is a charter school, and it is a Basque school. So all the kids here come in learning Basque, and all of their classes are in Euskera. Euskera is the Basque language. So they learn that in tandem with English. And so, like when we come to teach English, the teacher that I teach with, she's an Euskera teacher, so the kids can also speak to her in Euskera, but the kids aren't allowed to speak in Spanish. They do. So if they want to ask anything and they don't know how to say it in English, they're allowed to speak to the teacher in Euskera to get what they need, because, the oldest I'm teaching is like 2nd grade, so, their English still isn't really that great. But it does make it more difficult for me to speak with them because I'm only allowed to speak with them in English. So, I know a decent amount of Spanish. My Spanish is okay. So most of the time, if they end up speaking to me in Spanish, which they're not supposed to do, I know what they need, so I can ask the correct questions in English and try and get the English response that I need. But sometimes you just kind of have to give it to them a little bit. But, yeah, my kids are great. The school is really great. I work with 3 different teachers. One teaches 1st and 2nd grade. The other teaches 1st. And then the 3rd teacher teaches in infantile, which is 4 and 5. She's actually the substitute teacher right now, because the teacher I started working with for the first week, she had to go out on maternity leave. So I've actually been working with the substitute for infantile for pretty much the whole year. And so each day I get here at about 9 o'clock. They send a charter bus, so the school uses chartered buses to get me from my home to here. And it takes me about 15 minutes from Center City, which is where I live. And it's really beautiful here. It's basically like out in the middle of a big, huge field surrounded by mountains. I absolutely love it. And everybody here is really kind, but everybody here only speaks Euskera for the most part. They try to speak English with me, but even Spanish they don't really speak, only Euskera all the time. So this is difficult, so if you at least know some Spanish, it's helpful in you understanding them a little bit, but you have to speak to them in English, and in small doses they can mostly understand what you're saying, so that helps a lot. So I work through Up International, and they got me the job here at this school, and it was recommended to me by a fellow ITA alumni, and so, I highly recommend them. They're fantastic. My roommates actually work for Madeus, so if you also have Madeus questions, I might be able to answer. So I'll be completely honest, the pay is not great. But it's a really easy job. They make the PowerPoint slides for you. You basically just have to show up with a good heart, nice smile, and just enjoy your time with the kids. It's great. So I'm going to talk about my schedule. So Mondays and Tuesdays, I'm with primary the entire day. So that's 1st and 2nd grade for me. And then on Wednesdays, I only have 3 classes. And I'm with infantile for the first class. I have a break, and then the break at 11 that everyone has. And then I'm with the one teacher for one of the 1st grade classes. we have lunch, I have another small break, and then I'm with the other first grade teacher for that one class, and I finish at 1:30, but the first bus doesn't leave until 2:20, so I just kind of work on planning and stuff like that for a while before I leave. And then Thursdays, I leave at the same time as I do Monday and Tuesday, but I'm with infantile all day, except for one primary class. And then Fridays, I'm with infantile again all day, except for one primary class, but I leave at 2:20. Okay, so I got my certification about 3 years ago during my first year working full-time, and I did it online, so that was probably the best way for me to do it, and it was through ITA, and it was a really great course, really fast, and I learned a lot from it. This is probably going to take me a couple slides to explain, but the short answer is no. My friend from high school actually moved here before I did because she was also trying to become an English teacher, and while I was waiting through the process, she had already moved here because her school started in October, and I didn't get placed at my school until November because the teacher that was here before me left, so I actually replaced a teacher here. So she had already found roommates and found an apartment. Basically, my roommates had already done all the hard work for me. They're here with Medeus, they're all teachers, and they met each other through their forum because Medeus has a forum for them to find people to find housing with. But I know our other friends used a realtor when they got here, that helped. Yes, I do have my bachelor's degree in psychology and public health. Last time I checked, UP does require you to have a bachelor's degree for the program, but I'm not entirely sure, and I'm also not 100% sure that all the other programs do too. Okay, so now I'm gonna do the apartment tour. Okay, so we're gonna here with our nice big old shoe room. Okay, and then my room is the first one that you come across. Okay, nice, big, spacious. I have my little teaching corner right here. And then we have the first bathroom. Also, honestly, a really good size. And then what could have possibly somewhat been another bedroom, but there's no windows or anything, so it's kind of depressing. So it's our laundry room instead, our drying room. And then we have our living room / dining room. My room used to actually be the dining room, but then they had to make it a fourth room so I could move in. But we also have some nice views from our front windows, okay? And then to the Ciutadella that way, which is an old citadel from a long time ago, which is really cool. It's got a nice park inside, and we go to play badminton some days out there when the weather's really nice. All right, we keep going. We have the kitchen, which has a dishwasher, a really nice one, a nice fridge, microwave, an oven, all very spacious, and our balcony with a beautiful view of the mountains. This is really great to have a kitchen this huge for having 4 people. And then we have our second bathroom, also very large with a nice bidet and a nice big shower. No, it doesn't close, which is then the second bedroom, so my roommate Mary's bedroom. And again, all of my roommates are also teachers, and they teach with Medeus. Here is one right now. This is Mariana in her lovely room, and she's going to tell you what her favorite and least favorite thing about Spain are.
All right, so I think my favorite thing about Spain is just the lifestyle here. I think that people are just very relaxed in general. And I really like living in Pamplona because it's a really comfortable city. So it's not too big, but it's not too small either. So you have everything you need, but you can also walk everywhere. And we live really close to the city center, which is nice. I think my least favorite thing, I guess it's nothing about Spain in specific, but I haven't been able to see my family a lot because of COVID. And of course, we haven't been able to travel that much either.
Thanks. Well said. Totally agree with all of those things. All right. And then our fourth roommate, Michaela.
Hello. This is my room.
Her beautiful fourth room.
There's a lot of things happening.
No worries. Favorite and least favorite.
Okay, so I think my favorite thing about living in Spain, and particularly in Pamplona, is that like I've been able to create a home away from home, and it's still like very amazing to me every time I walk outside my house. The views are just beautiful. We're near the mountain and their city. Everything's really easy to get to, so I really love that aspect of it. But something that is a bit more complicated is the language. I think I've taken Spanish my whole life in school in the United States, which has been good, but also it's not as much as you would need, especially living in a more northern city. If you're in a more touristy place, it's different, but here, not a lot. Great to be able to practice your Spanish here, but sometimes when you need to make doctor's appointments or things like that, it can get a bit stressful. So definitely making sure you have a contact or somebody who is from Spain or in a program where she's like a tutor, director, that's definitely helpful if your Spanish is not that great.
100% agree.
Yeah.
And what ages do you teach?
I teach all of primary, so ages 6 to 12.
6 to 12. And you work for Medeas, correct?
Medeas, yes.
Awesome. Thanks. And Mariana, what age group do you teach?
Okay, so I mainly teach in primary, so 4th, 5th, and 6th grade. And I also teach a little bit of first of ISO, which is basically the first year of middle school here.
Awesome. Thanks.
Okay.
And they all teach with Medeas. And as far as we're actually on our way to Mercadona right now, which is the grocery store that we usually go to. But to get there, we cut through the Ciutadella, which is the super cool park. Like I said before, here's some more of the park. Okay, walking through. Just chilling. And then we usually come here to play badminton too on some days, like I said, but we're probably not going to see it today. What did he say?
I said yes.
Yes. Cute little fountain over there.
English sometimes.
Sometimes people speak English. It happens.
Sarcasm or not.
I know. I feel like they're making fun of us a lot, but so it's actually a really nice park, and you can go up parts over there, and there's like little inlets that you can hang out in and have great views of the sunrise, sunset, all that good stuff. We actually did come by where we play badminton. Surprise. Okay, there's actually no net or anything like that, but down there is where we would usually play badminton. We imagine the net. We literally went out of our way to buy badminton rackets for no apparent reason. But so I'm here on a student visa. That's really the only way to get here right now is a student visa. They really don't give out work visas. So I take a class through UP, and that gives me the hours I needed to apply for a student visa. We are now here at Mercadona, everyone's favorite grocery store. I wish I could show you more, but I'll show you the super cool juice machine in a second. The place is actually massive. They have really good prices. It is getting to be that time of night, so I'm going to wrap up with some last questions before I say goodbye for the night. So my experience with UP, I applied to them back in February, and then they responded back with a questionnaire for me to fill out about myself type of thing. I sent that back to them along with my CV, and then they had somebody call me with like a 15-minute information, get to know me type of thing, and then they set up the first interview. It was a Skype interview, and then the second one, and they called me back for the second interview, which was another Skype interview. And then I got placed around April, but that school never opened because of COVID. So I ended up waiting, and they were trying to find me a different placement, so I ended up waiting until November when something just happened to open up in both Pamplona and Madrid. But Madrid, I needed to be there in 2 days, and I didn't even have my visa yet. It came the next day, so that wasn't going to happen. And I just happened to already know somebody in Pamplona, so with everything, they've been absolutely wonderful. Their headquarters are in Pamplona, so there's been somebody here with me like the entire time. And it's really helpful if you're not that good at Spanish, because they help me with all the government paperwork and stuff like that. You know, someone picked me up at the airport, they helped me get my TIE, set up my health care, all that stuff. So they've been really great about everything. In general, they've been really good with COVID. You know, everybody has to wear masks everywhere, sanitizer everywhere. You can't travel anywhere outside of the Comunidad. So I've only been able to go around Navarra, but I mean, that's been really beautiful, but I wish I could have also gone other places. Say goodbye, but I hope I helped answer your questions for the day. If you have any more about UP or anything else, feel free to DM me, follow me, anything like that. To whoever takes my place in Pamplona next year, good luck. Agur.